Now, to understand the Flynn family, we have to start at the top of the organization, and that's with Walter Flynn. And if we've learned one thing about Walter is, he's controlling, manipulative, and he's one of the devils in the power universe. But to understand who Walter Flynn is, we need to look at Law 5 from the 48 Laws of Power, which is guarding your reputation with your life. And that's because this is one of the cornerstones to power. And if you've noticed, over the course of the first season of Force, Walter's reputation as a Flynn means something to him, as he constantly says, "We are fucking Flynns," and he talks as if they're unstoppable and a force to be reckoned with, and they very well may have been at one point, but as Uncle Paulie said, they're not as strong as they once used to be. But using this principle from the 48 Laws of Power, with reputation, you can influence and intimidate others, but this is something that is created over years of instilling your stamp and fear. For example, when he massacred 9 of the CBI men, this is a perfect example of Walter Flynn using his intimidating nature, because it stopped the CBI retaliating. But this is something that needs to be carefully created and maintained when you're in this position of power, because if you use your reputation correctly, you can continue to influence and intimidate others. But we are slowly watching him losing this intimidating factor that he once had in abundance, and in episode 8 it showed us 2 examples, where Claudia Flynn fought back and she said she will fight to keep what's hers. But another person who can never be intimidated is Tommy Egan, and Walter Flynn hasn't just met his match, he's someone who he's never come across before, and that's because he's someone who's been through hell and back, lost countless of loved ones, killed loved ones, and he came to Chicago with nothing to lose, although that's now changed as we went through Tommy's character analysis in this video. But Tommy's someone who doesn't play by anybody else's rules.
Gotta say, Thomas, I'm not used to people not following my orders.
Good thing I ain't your people.
So it doesn't seem like Walter Flynn has ever had the word no much, and it doesn't seem like he's used to being rejected with the offers that he puts on the table. But Tommy's not any normal person. He doesn't play by the Flynns, the CBI, or Chicago's rules. He makes his own. And this is why Walter feels somewhat threatened by Tommy, because he knows that not only does Tommy mean business, but he said it to Walter himself. Instead of having Vic play a position in the family where his talents are wasted, he's pulling him up. And the same goes for Claudia, and Walter Flynn only has himself to blame, because just like Liliana is there to tell Tommy if he's pushing too hard, he's not going to have an organization. And this is the same case with Walter Flynn. He has Uncle Paulie by his side, giving him advice when it comes to his kids, his health, as well as business. But Walter Flynn is blinded by racism getting in the way of business deals, and he's also way too stubborn to change his ways with his kids, and this is the reason why they're going behind his back. Vic Flynn first with the move that he made with Tommy, but now he's with the CBI himself, and then there's Claudia with Mai, and now with Tommy. But one thing Walter Flynn will always do is protect his kids, and his biggest moment came when he took out 3 of the Serbs in retaliation for the drive-by on his son, which was savage, cold, and he showed us he's not afraid to get his hands dirty when he needs to protect his family and the Flynn family reputation, which again links back to Law 5 from the 48 Laws of Power. But with that being said, let's talk about Vic, Gloria, and how Walter Flynn isn't just suppressing Vic when it comes to his business, but also his love life, because he made plenty of attempts to show Gloria will never be accepted. But love is a torpedo, and this is something you just can't control. And all Walter Flynn was doing was pushing his kids further and further away, and he'll probably get some of the blame for Gloria's death as well, something I'm sure we're gonna see play out in episode 9. And I do wonder how this is now gonna change Vic Flynn, because not only has he lost Gloria, but he's also lost his right-hand man, Simon, who was by his side since they were 3 years old. And on top of all of this, Walter Flynn has started to take a liking to Tommy and wants him to join the Flynn family organization. So now we're going to see this jealousy kick in, with Vic trying to regain his place in the Flynn family business, because this is all he has left. There's no Gloria, there's no business with Tommy, and I don't think the deal with the CBI will last much longer either, especially when Walter Flynn finds out and when the Serbs come back for blood. But this is the cost of doing business, and nobody has paid the price more than Vic Flynn, with the losses that he's suffered. But Vic has proven once before that he was able to put his differences aside for the greater good, when he found out Tommy was sleeping with Gloria, and he even helped him with the Serbs once before. But this time it's different because it's love, and it all depends on how he takes Gloria's death. Does it spare him on to try and reclaim his throne with the Flynns, or will it send him down a bloodthirsty road where he looks for revenge, and one where he spirals completely out of control? But let's talk about Claudia, because she's someone who's made her intentions clear in the very first episode of Force, when she was sitting in Walter Flynn's chair, and in essence she was manifesting her rise to become this queenpin. But over the course of the season, we've seen Walter Flynn shut her down over and over again. But Claudia's proven to us she's more than just someone who can handle business in a boardroom, and she has Walter Flynn to thank for that. because he's the one who pushed Claudia into making her own moves and tapping into this inner monster that she's shown us she has. And Walter Flynn has been warned again recently. He's got 2 kids who are fighting for the top spot, and only one can replace him. But where Uncle Paulie tried to advise Walter Flynn that he still has time to do right by his kids, we know he's way too stubborn. So we saw him warning Claudia, whatever she's into, he's gonna make sure he stamps on it and rips it away from her. But he hasn't seen Claudia do what we have.
Push comes to shove. Who knows what I'm capable of?
And we all know what she's capable of when she caught her first body in Mai, following it up with killing Reggie. And where it seemed like she may spiral out of control from her first kill, she quickly realized this is what they do, and that's the cost of doing business.
This is who we are.
And this is what we do.
So this is definitely setting Claudia up to become a bloodthirsty character, showing us she can handle a gun, boardroom meetings, the cops, and also showing us she can pick a business partner in Tommy. So where Walter Flynn passed up the chance to work with Tommy at the beginning of the season, Claudia knew the benefits that he'd bring to her organization, and now she's sitting on a gold mine. So let's talk about Dahlia, because this is something that is unrivaled, because nobody can produce this but Dr. Williams, and we even heard Uncle Paulie telling Walter Flynn that they need to get onto this new drug, because if they don't, they're gonna be left behind. But little do they know it's Claudia and Tommy behind it all, but I'm sure Walter Flynn does have a hunch. But Claudia is someone who's not happy playing second fiddle, and she's not happy about Tommy making all the business decisions in a business that's supposed to be equal. And if there's one trait she's taken from her father, Walter Flynn, she likes doing things her way, and she's here to make a name for herself. But with Claudia going behind Tommy's back, not once, but twice, this is gonna cause a huge issue between them, because Tommy warned her before that they need to be 100 with each other, because if they ain't, then this is how shit gets fucked up. And he really is talking from experience, because Ghost was someone who was never 100 with him. He was always planning and making moves behind his back, and keeping Tommy out of the loop. This is what caused a huge strain in their relationship. But where Tommy said they needed the CBI to fix their own in-house issues before they brought them on board, Claudia made a move with Diamond, and now she's shown her hand. And Diamond definitely knows that Claudia and Tommy are behind Dahlia, because he's not stupid. He's now had Claudia approach him, and he's also questioned Tommy about Dahlia, but luckily he has enough respect and knowledge that if Claudia's going behind her partner's back, he doesn't want anything to do with it. Not now anyway. But this move that Claudia's made will definitely have to be addressed by Tommy. But let's talk about Uncle Paulie, because he's someone we can't forget when it comes to the Flynns because of his influence. And he's shown us that he's been Walter Flynn's voice of reason, where he's constantly giving him advice over and over again with his kids, his health, and business. And that's because he took an oath to the family. But where his intentions seem like he wants to help Walter keep control, we have to ask the question, is he working another angle? Especially when we saw him go to Vic and tell him how Walter offered Tommy a deal. And Uncle Paulie very well knows Walter's losing control, but is he just waiting for the right moment to strike? So I do think Uncle Paulie is definitely one to watch, as well as the fate of his junkie son Andre, because we know how much love he still has for his son. And if anything happens to him as a result of Walter's drugs or Dahlia, this really will create a shitstorm inside the Flynn family organization. But as Walter gets geared up for war against the Serbs, he's gonna need his whole family to come together, because they're not as strong as they once used to be, and this is why we see him drafting in men from Ireland, and also putting his trust in his kids, especially with Claudia with a gun in hand. But regardless of whether the Flynns come together, there will always be this internal power struggle, because all Vic has left to fight for is control over this position that he thinks should be his. And then there's Claudia, who wants to make a name for herself. And again, Uncle Paulie may be working an angle himself, but we do still have to remember Walter Flynn is still the head of the family, and he's not going anywhere anytime soon. So this is something that will rumble on not just this season, but into season 2 as well. So drop all your thoughts down below on the Flynns, and let me know how you see this playing out in episode 9 and 10. So drop all your comments down below in the comment section, and of course if you're new to the channel and you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Power Book 4 Force and Power Universe related. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.